And let's continue our conversation here on America's Forum with the founder of Freese Associates, Foster Freese. Foster, you're just back from a spot that has the world concerned, not only because of the threat of Islamic extremism, but what has been going on in terms of persecution of Christians and other groups. Off air, you were talking about the Yazidis. Would you share on the air what we were talking about during the break?
Well, it's just awful to see all these little kids and the whole families with nothing but their clothes. They're staying in these apartments that are just partially constructed. There's no walls, they have no plumbing, no electricity. And we were there giving out some blankets because winter's nearby, and that's the difficulty they're in. The Kurds are a population of about maybe 4 million, and they've got 1.5 million of these displaced people that they have taken. And the problem is Baghdad, the central government, is not sending them money. It's sort of, they're holding the budget hostage. So some of the actual civil servants in the Kurdistan region has not been paid because there's a struggle between the central government, who does not want Kurdistan to be too powerful for fear of succeeding. There's always this fear of a Kurdistan nation, and therefore Baghdad will not let them sell their oil directly. Can you imagine if Texas had to sell all their oil through Washington, D.C. and have some of the money skimmed off before they got theirs? Kurds are supposed to get 17%. They're lucky to get 8.5% because the Baghdad central government, which I don't think of our friends. Maliki may be still important. Apparently there's a meeting of the party that he was involved with, and Abadi, his successor, never even spoke, I'm told.
So now this is very interesting what is happening, because we've heard about all the reform that was coming to the Iraqi government, but based on what you saw on the ground and what you heard in terms of murmurings, the Kurds again are not being dealt a fair hand.
It's tragic. They are truly American friends. They are surrounded by enemies. The Arabs don't like them, the Persians don't like them, the Turks don't like them, and they sell the idea that they are another Israel. And Israel and Kurdish region has had a lot of cooperation. That the Israelis helped them make their airport one of the safest in the nation. So it would be in our best interest, so we don't have to put our young men in harm's way, if we allow the Kurds, who are perfectly willing to fight, but they're trying to take out tanks with AK-47s, and we have to give them the ammunition they need directly, not siphon it through Baghdad.
So on one hand, the Iraqi government is not giving the Kurds the oil revenue they're entitled to. On the other hand, we have been slow in arming the Kurds, something that should have been going on, and certainly over the past couple of months.
My conversation with Harry Reid says I'm very much for arming the Kurds. John Boehner says we're arming the Kurds, but we're arming the Kurds with helmets and flak jackets, and not with anti-tank weapons and helicopters and the lethal things that they need to get the job done. And they don't even have jamming equipment. I was talking to the vice commander at Black Tiger Camp, which is the most forward Peshmerga camp, and they don't have the ability to block the communications that allows these people to take cell phones to detonate explosives. So they are truly our friends. They deserve our help. But besides helping our friends, the Kurds, it's in our best interest, so we don't have to put our troops there. They are there in line fighting, and all they need is some helicopters, they need some tanks, and the Baghdad government is an obstacle, as is our State Department. Our State Department has the idea we have to have one country, it's Iraq, and we can't break off into Kurdistan being too powerful.
Well, geopolitics, I'll transfer from that to domestic American politics. We've got about 2 minutes remaining. I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the Louisiana special election. Obviously, you're someone well-versed in the economy and energy, a major part of that, the Keystone Pipeline. The curious thing about Mary Landrieu in the Senate being challenged by Bill Cassidy. Cassidy had the bill in the House, Landrieu's bill in the Senate, now apparently coming up to a vote. Will President Obama go ahead and veto that?
I think he probably will. I don't think there's enough votes to override it, but I'm more concerned about why we didn't get Manis to back out of the election, because he couldn't get to any degree of being the final runner, and if he would have dropped out, Cassidy would have won with 50% and avoided the runoff.
Well, Louisiana has jungle politics. They say it themselves, Foster. Let me go to 2016. Yeah. You were outspoken, out front and center for our mutual friend Rick Santorum in 2012. Do you expect Rick to run And would you play the same role with him in 2016?
Well, I'm my brother from another mother. I mean, Rick is one of the most remarkable human beings, and they didn't let him get out of his social conservative pocket. That's all they asked him about. But people forget that he was on the Armed Services Committee for 8 years. He wrote extensively about Ahmadinejad and Chavez and the jihadi camps they're putting south. So he's in South America. So he's very strong on national defense. And at 38 years old, his colleagues in the Senate asked him to lead the management of the Welfare Reform Act. So he's got all three legs of the Reagan stool: fiscal conservative, national security conservative, and of course everyone knows he's got those values that have undergirded our country for years.
Foster Friess, we appreciate the chance to have you here on the anchor desk, fresh back from the Mideast, to give us an eyewitness report and also update us on what Rick Santorum may or may not do in 2016. Stay with us. There's more ahead as America's Forum continues here on Newsmax TV.